Jeff and Jeremy in the Morning podcast brought to you commercial free by another podcast. You've subscribed to ours, now subscribe to theirs. It's the Slow County Real Estate Podcast with Hal Swayze. When you're done with this, go listen to something that will actually enrich your life. California DRE 01111.
It's funny you were talking about rock, paper, scissors. My daughter is in 7th grade now, and she had to pick she's got her electives to pick. And she's got to pick 4, and it becomes priority. The 8th graders get first dibs, and then it trickles down to 7th grade, and then 6th graders get the leftovers. And we were going over her list of electives last night. We're listing them off for her, and her picks were board games and pickleball. And I'm like, board games you took last year. Why don't you try to do something else? Challenge yourself a little bit on this. Now, the other options,
the curriculum for education. I mean, that's something you do with family and friends.
This is what I said. I said, listen, and as far as pickleball goes, we have courts down the street. I will go play with you.
It's physical. That's good to get, physical.
Right.
I mean,
right. But she gets enough of it because she does 2 sports at a time every single season. And it's like everyday practice. So you don't need it during school. You need to exercise the muscle between your ears. And we're going over the other choices. And some of the other choices were, one was puppeteering, and I was like, don't do that. The other one was personal finance. And what's the biggest thing our generation complains about, the younger generations not having access to, is personal finance.
Be an elective. That should be a mandatory requirement.
I agree. But at least it's a choice. It's an option. And she's like, I don't want to do more math. And I'm like, you don't understand. This is actually math that you would use. This is the math that's the important math, not the stuff I never took it. And I told her, I said, listen, I wish my mom would have said, hey, take personal finance over home ec, but it was not an option when I was in school. So I ended up taking home ec. No, I'm not going to do it. I want to do board games.
Learned how to use a sewing machine, though, didn't you? When's the last time you got on a sewing machine? Mine was 11th grade.
Or make a pizza out of a Pillsbury biscuit.
Yeah, no kidding. You can figure that stuff out on your own.
Most important thing I learned from home ec was, she said, listen, make sure you guys wash the dishes really well, because the next home ec class that comes in that needs to use them, if you guys don't rinse off all the soap, they'll get diarrhea. So what did we do? We didn't rinse off all the soap.
You put extra soap on.
That was the worst information you could have given us, Mrs. Kahlberg.
Jeez, she's a terrible teacher. She knows nothing about kids. God. Hey guys, if you don't rinse off all the soap, the kids next period are going to get diarrhea. Okay, wink, wink. Jeez.
So I embarrassed my daughter yesterday afternoon. I picked her up from school, and her buddies come walking her to the car, and he said, "Hey, girl!" I rolled down the window. I go, "Hey, girls, you guys taking finance?" And they just kind of looked at me sideways. Because I'm pushing hard for this, man. This
won't be the last time.
This is the most important thing that they could possibly learn. Here you have an opportunity. And she's going to do pickleball, or she wants to do pickleball and board games. This is like, I get it, man. When you're in 7th grade, you want to take the easy route and you don't want to challenge yourself. But if I could go back to 7th grade me and say, take something that's going to challenge yourself. Take something that's going to challenge yourself,
Yeah, yeah.
Is there
I did this in college, but by the time you're in college, you actually do want to challenge yourself. And my minor was going to be business, and it was going to be information technology. I stuck it out 3 days in this class, and I realized I am way over my head.
You should have
I mean, we were talking about mapping networks. Like, there should have been so many classes I probably should have taken before I got into this information technology 2 or 301 class. I don't know why I did that. I should have went 101. And yeah, I was like, yeah, okay, this is out. So I switched my minor to business management, which was whatever, boring. But,
see, I wish I would have done that. I went like comparative American cultures.
Oh God,
because it was
you were a woke 20-something-year-old, like, yes.
And it was easy.
Comparative American cultures was all about how the white man's the devil.
Yes.
And it was the whole thing. It was woke before woke was woke. It was the
it was the roots
2000s
of woke.
And comparative American cultures was, I remember was taught by a Native American teacher.
Yes.
And it was all about how the white man, I mean, it was just like, okay, I understand history and I don't mind learning more about history, but literally I kept finding myself every week that I would go to that class moving further and further towards the back of the room.
Yeah.
Because I felt like all eyes were on me and the other 3 white dudes in there.
It was a bad choice. It was a bad choice. I mean, I could have learned so much more. I mean, I paid for these classes, right? You know, I could have. I mean,
there was required classes that you had to take comparative American cultures, but then you went deep and
I took like a bunch.
You
of
realized it was
classes.
a waste of time.
It was a huge waste of time. Huge waste of time.
I hope your daughter changes her mind about personal finance. I don't know how you convince her because I don't
anything
think she'll
that's
realize
sociology related. I can't get behind. At least she's doing something. And her excuse, I said board games. You took that last year, and she goes, "You know how much I learned last year? I learned great games to play with the family." Like, I can teach you those games.
Jeff and Jeremy in the Morning podcast brought to you commercial free by another podcast. You've subscribed to ours, now subscribe to theirs. It's the Slow County Real Estate Podcast with Hal Swayze. When you're done with this, go listen to something that will actually enrich your life. California DRE 01111 911.